Hello there, this is Oliver Weingarten and I would like to give you a short walkthrough on how to set up this scene here for V-Ray for Softimage. Well, I'm a little bit snuffy at the moment, so sorry for that. Okay, yeah, let's get started. Firstly, I will import the model, which was used for some lighting challenge on a certain forum, and Rob Wooster just did an overhaul of this scene, and he tidied it up and named it correctly, and thanks Rob for that. I did some additional changes, some minor changes, and I will provide this scene for download at the Softimage community site. So if you like, you can download this stuff and do some tests on your own. Okay, as we want to try to light up this scene just by the daylight coming through the windows, I will of course have a sun rig and an environment sky set up for this. So I go over to my passes and add a V-Ray sky shader, and this asks me if I would like to add a V-Ray sun automatically. I say yes. So V-Ray creates a V-Ray sun rig. I can delete the default light, and well, it's pretty much a usual sun rig. You can move. You can move the sun around and, well, doing some specific settings as you like. Well, perhaps this is something like I've used in the for this renderer. Okay. The next thing we will need is a physical camera. So we add a V-Ray physical camera. Here it is. And switch over to the physical cam and just let's adjust the camera angle to something similar I had in the previous render I did. Well, I don't know, something like more or less something like that. And store this. Okay. Okay, the next thing of course would be to check if V-Ray is our scene renderer, and it is. The next thing I'd like to do is to set all the options for the render region to the path options, so that we can easily tweak here and see the result in our render region. Okay. Yes, the next thing would be that we should add some portal lights to the scene to tell V-Ray exactly where the windows are, and just to improve the quality of the render for the usage of global illumination, so we get less artifacts and blotches and all this stuff if we use portal lights on these windows. So we will do this now. There are some V-Ray lights over here. V-Ray, normal V-Ray light, IES light, and the sunlight. Sunlight is already added to the scene, and we will take a normal V-Ray light for this one. Here it is. Well, as you see, V-Ray lights are by default area lights, so they give always some kind of soft lighting, except you, well, decrease the size of this area light to a very small size, but that's mostly not what you want. So now we turn this guy to to 90 degrees and set it somewhere near one of our windows, and adjust the height set round about to the middle. Let's see what we have here in the 3D view. Okay, by pressing B we could easily adjust the size of our area that will be used by our area light. So set it a little higher and get a little oops, no, this one, get a little closer to our gap where the windows are. Okay, there's some setups we should do right now. Some parameters. Change some parameters. Well, as you can see, the type of the light is a plane light. You can also choose a dome or a sphere light, but that's not a good idea for what we are doing now. So we just leave it at the plane type. In the sampling tab, I would say that you should increase the sampling to something like, I don't know, 16. I've got not that much experience with these settings, so I can't tell you exactly what a good setting is for balancing speed and quality. I think something about 16 and 32, something in between might be a good choice, but as I said, I don't have enough experience to tell you what's the best compromise between quality and speed. Okay, what do we have here? This multiplier and all this stuff can be left as they are. In the options, you have of course to select that this light should be a guide portal light. Okay, that's nearly all the setup you need for your portal light. So, oops, we can go ahead and just copy this guy 1, 2, 3, 4 times to have at least four portal lights. Okay, go over to our scene light, and yes, well, we could do a first test render now. Okay, before we will have a first test render, I would like to show you a nice little feature of V-Ray. Here in the V-Ray render options under global switches, there is a boolean that will override all the scene materials with the Lambert material of the chosen diffuse color. If you select that, all the materials in your scene and all the visible stuff will be overwritten with a material, a standard material for V-Ray with, in this case, with its settings. Well, we could leave it, well, something around 0.5. Well, we Softimage users already have our partitions and groups and all this stuff, so we're quite familiar with overrides. But well, it's quite handy if you just want to take a quick look on what light does with your scene without going in your path setups or whatever and change some materials. You could just switch on this global material override here in this tab, and you're done. It's a very nice little feature, I think. Okay, then we could have our first test render on this scene. Drag a render region. V-Ray supports the render region of Softimage, of course, and it's well, overall I can say that V-Ray is quite good implemented. It makes use of many features coming with Softimage and the render tree, for example. It's not as far as Mentor for example, is implemented in Softimage, but nonetheless, it's a quite good and I think a quite reliable integration, and as far as I'm concerned, I didn't have serious issues, and it does more or less what it's supposed to do. So I think it's a quite good implementation. Okay, as you can see here, our image is quite dark, and well, we could have a look at what we can do on this. We've used the physical camera, so we can easily adjust the shutter speed and the film ISO. I will use, I don't know, an ISO of 800 and decrease the shutter speed to something like 50. We could also play with the f number and all this stuff, but as I don't use depth of field for this render, I did some depth of field in post, so I just leave it as it is here, all the settings. And yes, okay. Now you can see we got more light in our scene. That's well, one advantage of these approximation passes Viewer does. We get an idea of the lighting in the room quite fast. We see there's some overlit areas here and there as light passes through the windows and bounces up the walls and other stuff. And well, we could try to get all these extreme values in some better, more recognizable and yeah, simply better ranges. For this one, we take a look at our past render options again and have a look at the color mapping tab. For now, we are using a linear multiply. We could switch over to an HSV exponential and adapt the gamma to 2.2. And also say that we want to have a linear workflow. Okay, this is much better. Okay, I think this lighting is okay for now, and well, I've already set up some materials for this scene, and I would like to, well, show them, of course, as I use the global switch for overriding all the materials. Well, we just deselect this guy, and Viewer will fall back to all the materials that are in the scene. And here we go. So this is the exact lighting setup, and I just switched all the materials on. And so you can see the materials, of course, have a big influence on all the indirect lighting going on in that scene. So by adjusting the settings of each material, you will have a huge impact on all the indirect lighting. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, as you can see, the setup for lighting up a room like this is pretty much straightforward. you don't have to tweak thousands of parameters or stuff like that. If you just follow the workflow I just showed you, it's a very common one. You can find it on several packages all over the internet with concerning Maya or Max or Cinema 4D, whatever. The good thing about V-Ray is, of course, that it's more or less the same across all these platforms, so you can easily transform knowledge from one package to another. Yeah, that's it's pretty cool. I like it, and it's quite fast. You get an impression of what your final image will look like quite fast. And well, there's one thing left I want to show you. That's the V-Ray frame buffer. And as soon as you press preview, V-Ray will fire up the V-Ray frame buffer. And here we got all a whole bunch of options you can choose from settings concerning the color correction and concerning lookup tables and all this stuff. And you can also switch between the RGB channels, switch to alpha, whatever you can save, and you can have something like a render region, so where you drag your mouse, these regions will be rendered first. This is a nice little feature. You also got all the render channels here over here on the left side. For now, I've got just RGB and alpha channel, but you can easily add more channels to your output. How easy that is, I can just show you in a couple of seconds. Just switch it up. Yes, this setup is on the render channels are called render elements in V-Ray, but to use the render channels for this path, I have to make a local copy of my render settings to this path, and this one. I'll lock it again. We could easily add some of all these predefined so-called render elements. It's nothing else than render passes, at least. If we would just want to add a Z depth, for example, we just select this channel and add it. Now we've got a Z depth render channel in our EXR. Okay, one last look at the settings I would use, or I did use actually, for the final render you see here over in Fusion. This is how the image comes out of V-Ray. I just added some ambient occlusion and a little depth blur and brighten up the whole stuff a little and added a little more contrast, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I've used for this settings, I've used an adaptive DMC and cranked up the maximum subdivisions to 10, and also decreased the threshold to 0.002, and I think I left this one. No, I cranked it up to adaptive amount of 1, so it will always be adaptive. The light cache I did put on 1200. The irradiance map I switched over to high, and I think that was pretty much it so far. Rendering for this image was about, I don't know, 10 minutes or something like that, 10-12 minutes. So it's I think it's pretty fast, and well, yeah, that's it so far. I hope you liked it, and well, perhaps there will be some more tutorials concerning V-Ray for Softimage. And by the way, congrats to Chaos Group for this release, and I hope it will be a success for you guys. Thanks a lot, and see you later. Bye bye.